When you start to tell people that you're going to have a kid, the first thing everyone says is how much your life is going to change. And if you're a dad, you might feel like you need to become this super dad, do it all character, or maybe you feel like you need to provide for your family a little more than you did before. I'm going to start referring to this as the dad identity shift, and that's what we're going to talk about today on this episode of the Fatherhood Forum. Welcome back to the Fatherhood Forum, guys. My name is Trevor. I just want to take a quick minute to say thank you for such a warm welcome, both here and on Instagram. I got a lot of comments and a lot of good texts this last week about this channel, this new endeavor I've taken on. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, because that'll just help more people find these videos. And outside of keeping a log for myself in the future, I want more people to see these and to get some insights if I can give any. But today's an important topic, I think, for me. In my situation as a dad, I've been the work from home, stay at home dad for my 5 years so far. And that kind of just fell into my lap. That wasn't necessarily my plan, but it worked out well. I get to spend most of my days with my kids, and that's pretty great while still working a job. Not a lot of people get that opportunity, so I'm very thankful for it. But today, with the dad identity shift, as I'm calling it, this is an important topic for me, because this is something that I was not informed of before I became a dad or early on in my fatherhood. I think it's something that the earlier you know, the better. And here I am trying to fill you in on it if you're unfamiliar. But there's this time period, I think, that you do try to figure out who you are now as a father and also as a person. You may have passions and hobbies and things that before you became a dad you loved to do and you had the freedom to do more regularly. But now, as a father, it becomes more difficult to do those things. And some things that I realized in this process is that guys tend to say to other guys, "Oh, your life is over," or "Oh, you're becoming a dad, you're so boring now." Like, that's all false. Or at least it can be false. You don't have to fall into that trap. It's really all about how you integrate your passions or your hobbies or the things you like to do into your new life as a dad. I think that that's something I had to figure out, and it took me a couple years. It's not necessarily going to happen overnight. It's something that probably took me the first 3 years of being a dad to try and figure out what I am, who I am, while also being my kid's dad. And I journal a lot. Big notebook here. I like to write. I've written for about 10 years now in different journals, and something I've written about a lot since becoming a dad, probably a handful of times over the last 5 years, is who am I? What am I outside of my kids? Because as that stay-at-home, work-from-home dad, it can catch up to you quickly. I remember there just being a couple times where maybe work was slow during the wintertime, or I was just constantly at home with the kids for multiple day stretches in a row. And that can weigh on you, especially during the tough times as a dad. Your kids are going to have good days and bad days. They're going to have good weeks and bad weeks. So during maybe one of those worst weeks that's harder on you, it's harder on them, it catches up, and you can kind of get this, boxed in feeling. And I think that's where you need to work in those hobbies and those passions and those things you like to do. Like, for example, for me, I realized pretty early on that I love fitness. I've always loved working out. I've been lifting weights and working out for the better part of my life. And I had to kind of rearrange my fitness when my firstborn was born. And that took some trial and error. I tried a couple different things. I went straight from lifting weights at the gym and some slight cardio to just doing like yoga at home. It was also COVID, so I didn't really have an option of being at home, but I went straight to just yoga, and I felt great, but it wasn't exactly my thing. Over the years of trial and error, I've realized that I love running. Running is my number one hobby at the moment. And I have tried to figure out how to integrate that in my daily life because it is something that I feel like I need it almost every day, if not multiple times a week. I try to get at least 4 runs in per week, and it just helps my mental health. It helps me feel better and be more positive approaching a day because I try to do it before my wife goes to work, before the kids get up, and that way I'm starting on a positive note. Another thing I love to do is golf. Golf became very big in the last 5 years, and I have been golfing for just about 20 now, I think. And I picked it up a lot when COVID happened, around the time that my first kid was born. And that was something early on I tried to work into my regular routine, but it's a lot more difficult. Rounds of golf take a very long time. So once I became a dad, and once I was a dad of 2 especially, you kind of have to work in how golf fits into my life. And that became a hitting net in the backyard. It became half-hour driving range sessions, sometimes with my kids, and that's part of it. I think is important for your hobbies too. Not that they don't have to be golf, they don't have to be running, they don't have to be fitness, but in my examples like that, I've been able to include them in those things. If I'm lifting weights, they kind of come out and like to join in their own way. They might look hilarious doing it, you can get a good laugh, but they try to join in some way, do a stretch or something like that. But with golf, it's easy. We have a set of clubs for them that they can both swing. We let them swing in the backyard. We've taken them to the driving range. It's just about how you integrate those things into your way of life now as a dad. And that's how I did it with my hobbies. And in terms of spending time away from your kids, there is guilt around that. Trust me, if you're like me, I think you will feel guilt in a sense of you need to be doing something for your kids or for your family or for your partner or wife. I think that I feel guilty sometimes when I go play a round of golf because I know my kids are stuck with somebody else. And I don't love that feeling, but I also know I need it as a reset, as a little time away, a little time to be me. And then I can come back and be a stronger dad for them afterward. And golf is one of those. I take 1 golf trip a year with my buddies. We play 3 rounds of golf in 3 days. And that's the majority of my golfing these days. Outside of that, I might play a round or 2 here and there, but that's it. I don't do a lot of other golf. And that's what works for me. I think, the feeling of super dad, it's going to creep in, especially in those scenarios. You're going to miss your kids. It's okay to both love your kids and also spend time away. I think that's important to remember. Hobbies are also key. This isn't just for dads. Hobbies are key for both you and your partner. Give and take. Take time to go golf for a weekend with your friends. Give a weekend away to your spouse to go and have fun on her own. It's give and take in that scenario because both parents need a good reset. Both parents need time away from kids that's not work related or stressful. It helps you reset. It helps you become a better parent. In general, that's just good advice for parents in general, let alone dads. It's not just singular to the fatherhood thing. Just spend some time away and reset. I would love to hear in the comments what you all do to kind of get away, to reset, to come back and be a stronger dad for your kids, and share them down below in the comments. And like I said at the beginning, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Give the video a like. It always helps. And I'll see you next week.